My name's Belinda. I am the owner and founder of RE3 Ice Compression Packs, and welcome to the Fitness and Lifestyle Podcast.
Welcome to the Fitness and Lifestyle Podcast. I'm your host, Danny Kennedy, and I'm here to help you become the very best version of yourself. Belinda, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Danny.
Long time no see.
At least 2 days.
How's the DOMS? Any DOMS this week? Do you know what it is?
The what?
We'll start off with a quick lesson for everyone. Delayed onset muscle soreness.
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
I actually do.
Good.
I actually do after our workout on Tuesday
Bit of time
morning.
away, we'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
For those that are wondering what the fuck I'm talking about with all these questions, Belinda is one of my clients and good friend. Now, I want to start the conversation today. Obviously, we're going to be talking about RE3 compression and ice compression, what it actually is, the benefits of using it. But I think the important part of that is like the story of how it all come about, and then a lot of the lessons and learnings along the way. So when we first started training together, I can't remember the year. Well, you should know because it was when like the first idea of the company even started. And I remember our first session, you were telling me about some of the prototypes and stuff.
Yeah.
So would you like to rewind a little bit and
Sure.
give us some insight into how the idea came about?
Yeah.
And then I guess the process of actually starting the company and getting the prototypes done.
Okay. Well, I think we started training, I think it was probably back in 2018. And I remember I hadn't launched, but I was close. And I launched the business back in, I think it was October 2018. But started the process, several years before that. So my background is, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physio. My background's actually in media. So I worked for News Limited for many years. Had a family, got 3 kids, took some time away, and knew I didn't want to go back to what I was doing, but knew that there was, something more. And my children are all quite athletic, and my 2 daughters at the time were swimming competitively. Bit of a family failing is hypermobility in the joints, so lots of issues with knees and ankles. And I'd been doing a bit of research on different materials for perhaps thinking about a swimwear line, but thought, that's quite challenging with all the contingencies of different body types, etc. So parked it.
Quite saturated too, I would imagine.
Yeah,
Market.
Exactly. Very competitive space. And when we were taking them to the physio with swollen knees, you've got to ice these knees when they get out of the pool. And it kind of sparked an idea what do I use? Is it a bag of peas? Is it ice in a bag? And they gave me a contraption which was effectively a plastic bag with a screw top lid. You shovel ice into it. We've all used one with a bit of a piece of rubber and some straps. And they wouldn't use it. It was cumbersome, it was uncomfortable.
The kids wouldn't use it?
Well, it was just messy. It was messy and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a light bulb moment because I thought, you know what, this is a really common problem. We actually have an ice maker in our freezer. A lot of people don't, and you need that to be able to use one of these.
The bag thing.
Bag thing. And I thought it just sort of sparked the idea of, wouldn't it be great to have something that was comfortable and easy to use, you weren't stuck to the couch.
Yeah.
That's where the idea basically came from. And I knew that I wanted to have something that was easy to use, was comfortable, would be soft when it was frozen, have surface area. So a lot of things on the list, and not as easy as what you might think. To design, but I think I got there in the end.
Oh, bloody oath you did. Just before we keep going, because I want to continue on from there, but for those that are wondering what the final product actually kind of is and looks like, and we can chuck up some images on the screen and stuff anyway, but You mentioned how it was difficult to put it together, and you had the idea and the concept and whatnot. So what is the actual product now, just so everyone knows ahead?
So what we've designed is a brace. That in itself isn't particularly unique, but inside the brace there's a pocket, like a waterproof pocket zipper, where you insert an ice core blanket, which is kind of what the combination of those things together is what makes the product unique, because when that blanket is frozen, it is still soft, yet it holds its temperature. So a lot of gel packs that you would buy from the pharmacy feel really nice when you put them on, but they go warm really quickly.
Yeah, and not reusable?
They're reusable, but they don't generally hold their temperature. So they're really cold, either really, really cold, but go warm really quickly, or they're hard, so they're hard to be flexible.
Molded and stuff.
Whereas the idea that I had, I actually went, funny story, I actually went to Melbourne Uni and sat in the science department with some of the, science lecturers, scientists, whatever you call them, about this concept of what I wanted to do, to have this liquid hold its temperature but remain soft. And sat in their tea room and talked about it and what my concept was, and workshopped it, which, true story. And they thought I was probably a little crazy, but it works. So the satchel...
How long did it take to get the... I guess you'd call it the formula, right?
Yeah. Oh, look, lots of prototyping and mucking around and testing. Look, honestly, that component, probably over a year to get it just right.
Yeah.
And, I did all of this on my own. I didn't have a team of people. It was just a concept, and I just workshopped it. And
that's awesome.
Until I got it right. So
it's incredible.
What makes it different is the brace with the ice core blanket that goes inside, and then you attach it. You can walk around.
Yeah, that's
mobile.
I've been a frequent user of your products. Unfortunately, but probably fortunately for you, unfortunately for me. But
exactly.
But yeah, that's one thing I really like about it, is the versatility of being able to use it and not have to just sit down in one spot and basically not move. And then the second part is I would often wear it when I went to sleep.
Yeah.
As well, which I found, I don't know if you're meant to do that, but I was doing that. But I just found that they're just like, compared to, as you said, like a bag of peas or whatever, shit goes everywhere. It's like once it starts to warm up, I guess you could say, there's just water and stuff everywhere. Whereas this thing, I found it so helpful after surgery, but even after training sessions, particularly lower body for my knee, and even, I don't know if you mentioned this before, but I like the fact that the braces are all specifically for each different area. Yeah. So I use one after my shoulder reco as well.
That's right.
Which is obviously completely different to the knee one. But yeah, so what's the most common one that gets used?
So the one I launched with was knee.
Knees, yeah. And
all of the braces are multi-use. So knee, it can also be your hamstring, your quad, your calf. It's not just a knee brace. So we started with that and have had huge success with it, which is great. And, it was designed for athletes. That was definitely where I thought it was going. It was the inspiration behind it. But what I've learned over the last several years is it's a lot bigger than just athletes, and we've got a really big market in the post-operative space, so people having knee replacements, for example. So an older demographic, we've had enormous success there.
Yeah.
So we have the knee, arm, leg. Then we have a small product, the ankle, wrist, elbow. So
that get used a lot, surely.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then we've got back and chest, and then shoulder, hip and glute. So we pretty much, across the 4 products, cover the whole body.
Apart from the head.
Pretty much. Pardon?
Apart from the head.
Maybe that's coming.
Yeah. Oh, look out. Exclusive.
Yeah.
Can you bring the mic just to your mouth? Is that okay? Yeah, about there. So,
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Going back to when you were coming up, I guess, with the prototype, and then you found the right formula, and you know exactly what you want. Had you ever started your own business previously?
No.
No. So what was some of the, I guess, speed bumps initially, or the learning curves and things that you had to really kind of work through that were completely fresh in terms of actually starting the business or the company itself, exclusive of the fact that you've got the product? Because, I mean, you can have a really good product, but if you don't know how to run a business or to market it and stuff, people won't know about it. So what were some of the, I guess, things you had to get through initially with that?
I think the hardest thing was actually starting, is just having that leap of faith. Because, look, I've got lots of good ideas, but actually making it into a product and then putting it out into the world is something quite different. And I feel like I had a few key people around me that just were my little cheer squad. And there's one woman in particular who I'll be forever grateful for, she's one of the, I think she's possibly the smartest person I know. Background at Boston Consulting Group, just incredibly brilliant. And she just checked in with me and would keep me accountable for how's it going. And I'll never forget her saying to me, you know, Belinda, are you a little bit pregnant? That was something that will always stay with me. Like, are you in or are you out? You can't just do this. Like, if you're in, let's
Go all in.
let's go all in. And that really, I think if I didn't have her on the sideline sort of really encouraging me, it would have been very easy just to give up, because the fear factor of, you know, what if it fails? What if people hate it? What if, you know, I lose all my money? What if I look like a dickhead?
Yeah.
You know, it's endless,
Yeah.
those voices. And I think probably when I met you, those voices were really loud.
They were.
Really loud.
I remember it. I remember it very clearly. And I remember we had a heap of conversations about it, and I didn't really know you that well then anyway, but it was like, I remember that you had this product which you were very confident about, but there was so much fear around it. I reckon there was a period for maybe like a month or two where every week before you left, I was just like, you just fucking got to, like, you just got to do it. Like,
Paralysed.
Like, you got to, exactly right. But I think this would be beneficial for people listening or watching too, though, because that's so common with anything. It doesn't have to be a company or a product like you've got. It can literally be starting a podcast. It could be
absolutely
asking someone out. Could be anything. Starting a fitness journey. People hold it off for so long. But I can't remember whether I've actually talked about it on here already or not. But I put up a video on my social media like maybe a week or two ago, because I'd had a conversation. I was a guest on someone's podcast and they brought up this topic. If I've said this in the last episode, then we'll cut this out. But I was thinking, I got asked a question around like how to make the decision to go and do something, even if you have even if you've got that fear of failure or rejection or whatever it may be. And this saying, I'll probably stuff it up, but I heard this a while back from someone I was doing mentoring with. And again, I might stuff it up, but the saying was something along the lines of like faith or belief is in like what you are trying to launch. So if it's a business or if it's whatever it is trust without evidence, or it could be trust is faith or belief without evidence. Either way, still makes sense. But when I got asked about how to make these decisions, even when you're scared, the best way I could put it together in some form of analogy was like, if you went on holidays and you went to your favorite location you've always wanted to go, let's say when you guys just went to Greece, and then you just sit in your hotel room or your villa for every single day all the way up until the last day, and then you go and do all the shit you wanted to do on the very last day. You wouldn't do that, but people do that in life. People do that same analogy in life. They know exactly what they want, or they have this decision they've made, and you either put it off or you say you'll do it next week or next year,
Yeah.
or whatever it may be, because you're waiting for the right time.
There's never a
And
right time.
No, if it feels like it's the right time, it's too late.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And something that I talk about a lot is that if you're not doing something from the fear of failure, so in your case, if you chose to not launch the business, then the outcome that you were so scared of is already a reality, because no one's going to have your product. You haven't got a business, and all the time you put in was a waste. So that's the exact same result as if you had started the business and it did fail. You're in the same
True.
spot. So when you think of it like that,
Absolutely.
it's like, fuck, what have you got to lose? Absolutely nothing.
No.
It's a win-win.
I agree. I think, and just, one of the biggest benefit, there's so many positive things that have come out of this whole experience, but I think for me, at my stage in life, the personal growth and the learnings, amazing. That if it all fails, whatever that means, I'll forever be grateful for the experience and the learning, and I just look at everything completely differently now because I've learned so much over the journey. I've come across different people that I would never have met.
Yeah, for sure.
I've been to
Traveled-
America
traveled,
and
yeah.
seen behind the scenes of those amazing colleges. I've had so many amazing experiences, and those times where things get really tough, and often it's tough, I go back and I read the reviews.
The good ones.
Do you know what? I'm so
All of them.
lucky.
They're all good.
The hardest part is people understanding what the product is.
Yeah.
When they get it, they love it.
Yeah.
And my strike rate's really good. And I feel really proud of
Yeah.
that. But
And that
keep
goes,
going. Keep
that
going.
goes for anyone and everyone. When you genuinely believe in like your product or your service,
Yeah.
because often like even in the fitness space, right, when I'm
Yeah.
working with a new coach or whatever and they're too scared to post stuff online, or they're worried about people talking shit, or they're worried about
Yeah.
posting too much or trying to sell too much,
Yeah.
I'm like, you're doing yourself and your audience a disservice by holding back from getting it in front of as many people as possible. If you genuinely believe in your service or your product, if you think it genuinely would help someone,
Yeah.
then it's your responsibility
Yeah.
to get it
Get
in
it
front of
out
as many
there.
people as possible
Yeah.
without worrying about the small little speed bumps along the way, or
Yeah.
if you have it's probably inevitable that you're going to have an angry customer here and there, but it's all just part of the fucking it's all
It's
just
all
part
part of the
job.
journey, isn't
Yeah.
it? And, you can't please everyone.
Yeah.
And I think, things go wrong. Sometimes you get somebody that's unhappy, but it's how you deal with it. And, so, it's pretty cool, I think.
It's very cool. I would imagine, obviously we've got Grace in here at the moment, she doesn't have a mic,
She's
but
so proud.
yeah, I was just going to say, well, probably lucky for you she can't talk into a mic at the moment, but
that's
I would
thank
imagine
God for
like
once.
that's got to be setting such a good example for your kids as well, and regardless of whether they know it now or not, at some point they will look at the growth and the journey of your business as well, and that's going to help them
I
at
think
some point
so.
in their life, without a doubt.
It's important, like having two girls and a boy. I think it's really important for them to see, even at my age, I'm not 25.
26? No.
Maybe
Yeah.
30s.
Yeah.
No, I just turned 50 last year. So doing this now, and I've been doing it for several years, I feel more invigorated now than I think I ever have, because of the exciting stuff I'm doing and that I'm exposed to. And I want the kids to see that, it's never too late. And if you're persistent and passionate about something, and I'm very passionate about it, I love it. I love the little community of people around me that have supported me. You can just do amazing things. I want them to
100%.
see that. Yeah.
And it does leave an impact with people. Like, I even think about my old man. I feel like I've told you about him before. He had his own plastering business for, I want to say 30 years at least, I'm pretty sure. But right when he was younger, he wanted to be a cop, and it didn't work out. So he started a plastering business and had it all the way up until he was past 50.
Right.
And then he made the decision to just pack it all up and try and become a cop again. And is now a policeman.
Wow.
And like absolutely loves his job.
So how old was he when he
I
started
can't remember.
that?
He was like early 50s, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, really?
When he
became an
joined
police
the
officer.
and went to the academy with like all these younger people and then
love
doing a lot
that.
of the stuff that it wasn't his strength, like whether it be,
Yeah.
you know, I'm sure he wouldn't mind me saying this, like whether it's like stuff to do with, you know, like computers or like
yeah.
even like certain academic things or whatever that maybe he hadn't had to do for so long.
Yeah.
So he got super uncomfortable and now is a policeman and like absolutely froths it. Like on his days off would prefer to be at work.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
even me seeing that was like so inspiring
Yeah.
because it's one, as you said, it shows people that you never, because I hear people all the time talk, like, and I used to think it as well, even when I finished school or when I was in school, I was like so stressed about the fact I didn't know what I wanted to do or like what uni course I wanted to do or whether I wanted to go to uni or whatever. And then, you know, nearly or more than 10 years down the track, I realised that it meant fuck all.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm sure there were some people who were listening
Yeah.
to that and thinking that
Yeah.
it does matter, but depending on what you want to do, obviously. But you can literally start whenever. Even I can't remember we'd already started, whether it was before the interview, when you talked about, we mentioned Gary Vee before.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he didn't even start posting shit online until he was like early 30s.
Yeah.
And is now arguably one of the most engaged business people in the world
sure.
online.
Yeah.
So when you have someone at any age that wants to do something that they enjoy, I reckon it's just like, fuck it, just go for it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, you know, as well with, you know, you're talking about when you're at school, you didn't know what you wanted to do. I think my kids are at the age where, you know, they're finishing school. I've got 2 at university. That whole experience is very different now to what it was when I went through back in the 90s. And in terms of the career pathways, which was very structured back when I was at that stage, and now with my girls, or all 3 of them, my son's still at school, the opportunity to have a career and success can be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you don't have to go and work at in a corporate role. You can start your own business. There's so many ways to be successful. And if you've got a passion and an idea, I think it's really exciting because you can write your own ticket.
Yeah. It's super motivating and exciting.
Yeah.
And the other bit of advice I've been given a few people that I've been mentoring lately in particular around like not knowing what your purpose is or not knowing what you want to do or whatever it may be is, in my opinion, just follow like the good feeling.
Yeah.
So what feels good when you do it that you don't need to be paid to do it or you don't need to be asked to do it or forced to do it or drag yourself to go and do it. And then whatever that is, regardless of what it is, just go all in with it.
Yeah.
Because as you said, like you could, as we've started to see now, fucking PlayStation and computer games. Back in the day, you'd have your parents tell you to go outside and play whatever because the PlayStation's not going to do anything for you. And now there's people making fucking millions of dollars to play PlayStation in front of a sold out crowd. So it's like,
see, that's
doesn't matter what
mind-blowing.
niche it is. It's like there is literally a market for everything.
Yeah, there is.
It's
there
crazy.
sure is. Yeah.
What can you give us an idea of the growth from 2018 to now?
Pretty significant.
Step by step, I guess.
We certainly have got a long way to go, and COVID hit in the middle of all of this stuff, 2020, which I thought, this will be great, but it actually worked as a positive because I had more time my husband was working from home, everybody was working from home. But life got a lot slower, so I could really focus. And, the last 2 years we've grown enormously. And we have a digital agency based in the US where that's going to be a big focus going forward.
The US market?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went over last year and met with various colleges in San Francisco and
NCAA?
Yeah. NCAA.
Yeah. Just wanted to clarify. I just wanted to clarify, as in like sporting colleges.
Yes,
Yes.
like
So like for universities in
Oh.
Australia is colleges in the States, for those that have no idea.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we went to Stanford, Cal Berkeley. It's like mind blowing.
Crazy, isn't it?
The facilities,
Mind blowing,
the
isn't it?
sporting
Yeah.
facilities are, just, I've never seen anything like it. And I have seen behind the scenes at the AFL.
Yeah.
And, it's incredible, but this is next
Doesn't
level.
even compare.
No.
We had 2011. We played basketball in the States for a little bit.
Oh, yeah, that's
in
right.
North Carolina and
Yeah.
South Carolina, and we got to visit a few of the big colleges as well. So like Duke College,
It's a good one.
UNC,
Mm-hmm.
which was nuts. And like UNC, for example, was like they have a whole town for the college, as in like street signs, fire trucks, everything are the color blue of North Carolina College. Everything is like set up for the college. It's mental. And their stadium was like fucking huge. It's just like, you can see how, I don't think it'll change that much, but the States in comparison to here, like the high schools in particular as well,
Yeah.
probably most importantly, and then the colleges as well, it's just like made for sport.
Yeah. It's just, ingrained in their culture.
Yeah.
And it's just the sheer volume, 350 million people. What are we, 27 million?
Is that how many we got here?
27, 28, I think,
Yeah, right.
million.
How
Maybe
many of those have
29?
got an RE3 brace?
Growing number.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. But, yeah, the US, that college system is incredible. I would love one of my kids to have the opportunity to go over and experience that. It's not that easy. It's really
Yeah.
expensive, but possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, just that whole experience living on campus and, the sport, it's incredible.
Big community, big family.
Big community.
Do you mind giving us insight into just roughly sales in year one in comparison
Oh,
to
God.
roughly what it's doing
Now?
now?
Oh.
Again, you don't have to if you don't want to, but just to give it some idea of...
Oh, look, we've gone from, in 2018, when I started, I think I went to some professional footballers for trials and key sort of strength and conditioning staff to just, seed product with athletes, and the feedback was amazing. But beyond that, when you have a website, build a website, hello, crickets, like there's a lot to happen to actually
gain
be
traction,
found,
get eyes, yeah.
which I now know. So in 2018, I wouldn't say that our sales were particularly impressive.
But it makes the story better.
But now, we're a multi-million-dollar business.
That's
and
crazy.
growing. So,
That's awesome.
and we haven't really even
Touched the
started.
sides, yeah.
Like our Beyond Knee, we've really focused on that because, it was the first one. We've got surgeons that we wholesale to that use it. One of the surgeons I think you even went to,
Yep.
we supply
Yep.
directly. So we've got patients using it in the hospital, around Victoria, Sydney, Brisbane, and they just come to us organically now, which is pretty cool. So the growth trajectory is pretty good, and hopefully we can replicate that in the US and beyond.
I'm sure you'll have no issue doing that.
I hope so.
What's been the most difficult thing so far, or the biggest setback, or the biggest speed bump you've had to get through within the business?
Probably. Oh gosh, that's hard. I think the mental obstacles that I face on a regular basis. It can be really lonely at times when, you're trying to get a foothold and it's expensive to drive a business, and we've kept a pretty lean machine, so a lot of it comes a lot of this has been done on my own, and with that comes the self-doubt. And I'm very, very lucky that I've got a husband who is incredibly supportive of me, that we've developed our own little ritual, and I think it's really interesting. I know you've got your rituals in the mornings of the things that you do that start you up for success and all of those things. But for me, every morning we've got a little ritual where the mornings that we're not at the gym, he will go out and buy coffee and bring it back, and we lie in bed and we have our coffee and we talk about the day, and I talk about all the things that have haunted me overnight, and which is quite a few things, and we pull them out and we talk about it. In the daylight, it's never as scary as what it is in the middle of the night, and it sets me up to go out there and take the day on.
That's awesome.
So that's, I think, the biggest obstacle is just self-belief and listening to those voices that tell you people aren't going to like it or it's going to fail. And, it's, I guess his approach is, well, what's the evidence? Why would you think that?
Exactly
He's
right.
very logical and rational. So that's a good...
I think, that's where you've really got to become the observer of your thoughts and not the victim of your thoughts. Because we have so many thoughts, and majority of them are subconscious thoughts throughout the day, so they're not something that we choose to think about. And majority of those thoughts are negative. So it's like if you continually buy into every single thought, then you're going to have a pretty rough time. But I think...
but why are the negatives ones so much louder? Why is that, I wonder? It's so much easier to listen to those voices than the ones...
Because I think,
maybe that's
it
just...
definitely is. I think that, I don't know, firstly, but when I think about it, I feel like it's almost like we're kind of, I think particularly when you've already got a mindset of like almost expecting something to go wrong or like waiting for something to go wrong, it will, if that's your mindset. And that's what you'll gravitate towards. Whereas if you can change your mindset to whether it be looking at what's actually right in front of you and seeing that there is no evidence of this thing that you're worried about happening, or just consistently just staying at this neutral level of not being brought up and down by external things, and then also just having this, I know it sounds pretty cheesy, but just like having this positive mindset that everything will work out, and you just trust in the fact that everything will work out the way it's meant to, and everything happens for a reason. So then when something does come along that seems negative, it's only negative if we say it is. You know what I mean? Like even if something is perceived as a really shit situation, it could be the best thing that ever happens to you, or it could be the best learning curve that ever happens to you. But if you label it as shit, it will be a shit experience for you. Whereas if you can just look at it neutrally and just think and say and think to yourself that this is meant to happen, and there's something in this that I can use moving forward, then all of a sudden the fear around bad shit happening kind of goes away, because then you're like, well, regardless of what happens, I'm just allowing it to happen, and then we kind of move forward from there. And then thinking of it's easier said than done, but thinking of your thoughts, like I use the analogy of, this is a shit analogy too, but this is the best one I've got.
Great. I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, so everyone just lean in and turn up the volume and get ready for this one.
Shit analogy.
But it's like a job interview, right? So you say if you've got a role at RE3 that you've got advertised, and you have 20 people go for the role, you have to listen to the 20 people's interviews, but you don't have to hire every single one of them. So you get to pick and choose. So you become the observer of your thoughts. And as someone who's hiring for the job, you still have to listen. You still have to observe every single applicant. Even if right from this moment they start talking, you're thinking to yourself, fuck, there's no way. But you're not going to choose all 20 of them. You're only going to choose one. So if you observe all of your thoughts, you get to pick and choose what thoughts you actually buy into.
That's deep.
Deep shit.
Deep.
Was it as bad as what I said it was going to be?
No, it's great.
It's actually
I love
pretty
it. No, it's very good. No,
Yeah.
I'm with you.
What do you think you would, I know this is a bit of a cliche question, but if you were to go back to 2018,
Yeah.
when you did have that fear around launching it,
Yeah.
what's a lesson or what's something that you would tell yourself now to make that whole process a lot easier and smoother for yourself?
Relax. Just relax a little bit, because it's all going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know, it generally is. And, you know, I had a month off, which through the whole time of this business is the most amount of time I've ever had away. And we were overseas. And a few things happened that, you know, we made some changes, and, you know, the daily sales just fell off a cliff. And I'm like, oh, fuck, you know, great.
Looking
It's
at
all
flights
over.
back.
It's all over.
Yeah.
You know, I may as well, you know, I'm going under. And, you know, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a logical reason for it. And, you know, sometimes, you know, things go up, things go down, but generally they stabilise again, unless there's something terrible that's happened, or, you know, which isn't the case. So it's like just worrying about the day-to-day is futile. Like, just, you've got to look at it. And that's where my partner is really good at, you know, his background is in finance, and, you know, we've been through global financial crisis, and, you know, he's been doing this for a long time. And when you think, oh, like 2008, the world's coming to an end, you know, we're all going to be, nobody's going to have any money, the banks are going under. It's, you know, and he just has a really good way of looking at it. It's like, you know what, cycles happen.
Yeah.
This has happened before. The sun will come up tomorrow, and it will all be okay.
Yeah.
And generally, it is. It is okay. And I actually work with someone who I adore, and she's got a very soothing, calming voice. And sometimes I just have to get her to say to me, Belinda, it's going to be okay. I just need to hear that. It's like a little reinforcing, I don't know what you call that, but, you know, the proof is
Yeah.
that it is.
Yeah, if you're able to zoom out
Zoom out.
and look at it and
Exactly.
ask yourself the question, will this thing that I'm worried about now matter in 2 weeks or a month
Exactly.
or a year or 5
No.
years? And if it's not going to matter then it's not worth worrying about now.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's
having
kind of,
the perspective to sort of,
yeah,
you know, and not get caught up in the minutiae of the day-to-day,
yeah,
which I think for me as a, you know, a founder and a, you know, managing director is being able to do that and stand back and not get so involved in every little
yeah.
thing that happens, and take more of the bigger picture view. So
From the business side of things, has there been, or like entrepreneurial space, is there anyone, I don't know, that you take value from in terms of consuming content or using as a mentor or whatever?
do you know, one person that I think I just really like her view is a woman called Sarah Blakely, who is the founder of Spanx. Hugely successful. And I just like her energy around, you know, her philosophy towards business and, you know, in life. And she, you know, says, you know, failure is good. And when she was a kid, her dad used to say to her and her siblings, you know, what did you fail at today, kids? And they celebrated failure because, you know, you're having a go, and that's where the learning comes from. When you do something really bad, or, you know, you lose the race, or you know, you screw up on the footy field, whatever it is, you know, but what did you learn from it, and what are you going to do about it? So I really like her philosophy.
Yep.
And I identify with her story in as much as she had an idea, she funded it herself, she went into, I can't remember, was it Neiman Marcus or one of those American chains, and everybody told her, no, this is a bad idea. And she took it in and she wore it. She went into the toilets and she put her prototype or first generation of Spanx and showed why, what was so great about them.
Yeah.
Under white pants, there's no underwear line.
Yeah.
And, I really identify with that because, with my product, until you try it on, you have it on your body. And if I could record every single person that's put it on and get that, oh my God, I get it now. She did all the patents herself. She did the drawings herself, finding a supplier to work with her in a factory.
That's cool.
And I think I kind of really get that.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a billionaire goddess, and I know I'm certainly far from that. But in terms of, it's okay to fail. It's okay to screw up. What are you going to do about it? What did you learn? And, she didn't have a business plan,
Yeah.
all of that stuff.
The
So I
failure ones-
I really value her.
That's awesome. The failure one's interesting. Lately, I've really switched my view on it as looking at a failure like an attempt. I can't remember who I heard this from or read it somewhere, but seeing it as an attempt. So if I go to launch my business and it fails, I can either look at it as a failure or I can look at it as attempt number one.
Exactly.
And what can I change for attempt number two to make sure that the result of attempt number one doesn't happen again?
Yeah.
And when you think of it like that, it's way less scary. Or, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I find, even though the fear of failure just holds like so many people back,
Yeah.
literally every single person that I've come across that had a really big fear of failure before they just took their first step, afterwards have a perspective of it as to why was I ever so scared?
Yeah.
Or like a sense of like relief, but also a sense of like, what the fuck did I make such a big deal about that for
Yeah.
in the first place? And I wish I had started sooner.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Interesting. And I do think for me at my age, should I have started this sooner? And the reality is,
You can't change that.
I can't change it.
Yeah.
And, I think it all happened at exactly the right time.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Where do you hope to see RE3 in let's say another 5 years' time? Because what's it been? About 5 years now.
Yeah.
In October. It'll be 5 years. Yeah.
Yep.
Year 10. Where's RE3?
Well, I hope that we have a significant penetration into global markets, and that it becomes one of those brands that's easily identifiable.
Are you worried about someone copying the product?
Okay, so it's already happened. When it happened the first time, I freaked out because, it's very confronting. I thought, this is the end. But getting back to my Sarah Blakely story, who I always look to for a bit of inspiration, and I have all of the necessary or as much protection in place as you can possibly get through trademarks, patents, all of that stuff. I've done everything. And she has been copied with Spanx. I mean, there's Nancy Gantz, there's now Skims, which is massive. Her view is, and I agree, or I've, taken inspiration from, is if you've got a good idea, someone's always going to want to replicate it.
Yeah.
The challenge is keep your eyes focused on what you do and just do it better than everyone else. And, people are going to copy you. All you can do is focus on what you do and just do it better.
Well, it's confirmation that you've got a good product as well.
Well, it is. And it's
Because
also...
no one's going to copy something that's
really
dog
fucking
shit.
hard. It really is. And I think if you can do a better job than what I can by copying my idea, good luck to you.
Yeah.
You know, because it's really hard.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard. So I have had my packaging copied. I've had the name, you know, copied. I've had, you know...
The name.
Oh, yeah.
What do they call it? R3E?
No, there was a council that, you know, because it's a different category,
Yeah.
have used the RE3 with the logo for an event or something in country Victoria. Yeah,
Really?
crazy. Anyway, you have to take it as a compliment,
Yeah.
you know.
100%. What would you... I think for someone that's listening at the moment that or watching, that has kind of now got a good understanding of what the product is, what it does,
Yeah.
you know, the benefits, all that type of stuff, but is still wants further clarification or is hesitant around whether or not it's actually effective. Because I don't blame them for that, because
Yeah.
I think it's super important to not just follow the crowd and do the same shit as everyone else if you have no fucking idea what you're actually getting yourself into. Not that
Yeah.
an ice pack is going to do anything harmful, but more so to the point, what I'm trying to say is, how do people know it's effective?
I think the validation for me is the increasing number of doctors that are using it in their practices, that are supplying their patients directly and using it on wards,
Yeah.
is, like, for me, a massive tick. We've got a spinal surgeon using our back product for lumbar or for spinal fusion surgery, because the patient can lie flat and ice, whereas other modalities, you can't do that because
Yeah.
ice is hard and it's sharp and you can't lie down flat.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's being researched now, the effectiveness of the cryotherapy for this particular procedure that he does.
Right.
So we're actually measuring it. I've got a sports and exercise physician doing a study using our back brace for in conjunction with PRP injections to see whether, you know, what the effectiveness, because that particular injection encourages an inflammatory response. So but it's also quite painful. So using ice, is that going to detract from the efficiency of the shot?
So using the ice after the PRP.
Yeah. So results of
Interesting.
that, you know, so there's a few cool things that I feel, you know, I feel like I've got good people looking at what we're doing. It's not just a fly-by-night, you know,
Yeah.
we're in it for the long haul.
Mm-hmm.
I'm engaging with good people that know their stuff, that are
Yeah.
listening.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know what the future holds, but I'm really committed to it. I'm really passionate about it. And I know it's so rewarding for the amount of time that I spend on it, that I think, you know, I'm not selling lipsticks. I'm not selling T-shirts, no disrespect, but I feel I'm actually doing something that's helping people
Helping
feel
people.
better
Yeah.
and, you know, take a bit less pain medication. It's another thing that we're looking at and measuring. And, you know, I know people will say, but you can use a bag of ice. And yes, you can, but you don't.
You don't know until you've tried it.
Well, because it's, you know, it's a pain.
Yeah.
And, you know, what we're doing is offering people a really convenient vehicle to use cryotherapy. And because it's comfortable and convenient, they'll do it and get all of those benefits.
Yeah.
You know, if you've done your knee and you need to have a physio treatment to numb the area and reduce the swelling so that you've got a better range of motion, your physio treatment or whatever treatment will be better because your range of motion
Is better.
is better.
Yeah.
You know, getting moving back on your feet is really important. So,
Yeah.
you know, I think it's just the vehicle and the way we've done it.
Yeah. Well, because you mentioned obviously athletes, post-op clients. How has the target audience changed from day one to now? And
Absolutely.
And I guess, are you able to define, what your target audience really is?
we're doing a lot of work on that at the moment because I feel like, we started looking at athletes, elite athletes, and, as through the journey, meeting with elite sports people, you meet the doctors, you meet the orthopedic surgeons, and what we've realised is if you've got a body, you're a potential customer because everybody can be injured. This solves a really common problem.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think, it's really obvious, but nobody's done it like this. There are other things that may look similar, but they're not the same.
Yeah.
The magic is the combination of the brace and that ice core blanket, and then the added benefit that when the ice core blanket is in the brace, you can take it with you because it stays cold for hours and hours and hours. Once you start wearing it, it will, warm up with your body.
Yep.
But you can take it with you to the game. You can take it with you to work, and it will stay cold all day. In fact, when you take it out and it hasn't even been in the freezer, it's still cold to touch.
Yeah.
So it just makes it really easy, and all of the packs come with 2 blankets. So you've got one at home,
Yeah. So you can
one
always
in
have
the
one in the freezer.
office, or you take one to the game, you ice in the car on the way home, and then you've got the other one when you get home,
Yeah.
so you can rotate,
That's awesome.
So it's
Yeah.
a system is what it is,
Yeah.
more so than just a product.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, I've obviously used them now pretty much since you launched, to be honest. And in
I
that
think
time,
you've
I've
probably
just
got a
happened to
prototype.
have about fucking 5 different surgeries in that period as well.
You're a good customer
Yeah,
because you
bloody
keep,
oath.
between tattoos and
Recurring customer.
knees and...
Shoulders, ankles.
How did you do your shoulder? Boxing,
Long
that's
story.
right.
Yeah.
Boxing. Was it boxing?
One of many. Yeah, it was actually. Yep. Thanks for reminding me. Belinda, I've actually really enjoyed this chat. There's been a handful of things that I didn't know or that I've learned. Even though we've been friends now since 2018, which is awesome. And I'm sure the audience has taken away a lot of value, but a lot of inspiration as well. And you are doing an incredible job, and it's very exciting and very motivating. So thank you for coming on. And I look
Danny.
forward to watching it continue to grow.
And if I can just say in closing, and you have been there pretty much from the launch date, I think you have actually been a really valuable part of this journey because, we do train together. Well, I train, you talk.
I train you, yeah.
Most weeks. And I think being physically strong is really important, but being mentally strong, I think, for your audience, which you've got a really loyal following, for me as a client of yours and a friend, is I love the combination of all of those things together. And you definitely have been one of those people. If I go back over the journey of all the people that have helped me along the way, you're definitely in there because you're just a really positive, caring influence, and also I think not only to myself but to the whole family. So just in
amazing.
closing,
Thank you.
there you go.
I appreciate it
It's
a
not
lot.
even paying me.
Oh, what?
It's all true.
Yeah, I'll slip you the
Facts.
cash after this.
Huh?
I'll slip you the cash after this. Thanks for that. Pretty much got it word for word. Thank you.
Great.
No, I appreciate it a lot. For everyone who has tuned into the episode, whether you're watching this or listening to this, we would love to hear your feedback. So please do share this episode, whether you send a link to a friend or post a screenshot on your Instagram story or wherever. All the support is very much appreciated, and we really hope you've enjoyed the episode. Thanks again, Belinda.
Thank you.
And make sure you subscribe to the show, and we'll see you guys or speak to you guys in the next episode.